Some power trips start with a bang. This one started with a giant red sticker slapped across my garage door. It read, "Abandoned property, subject to HOA Caesar." The craziest part, I was standing right inside my house, watching them put it there. I had lived in this neighborhood for 3 years. I paid every single HOA due on time and never missed a meeting notice. But according to our lovely HOA vice president, my garage had been unused for an extended period. His words, not mine. And because of that, it was now eligible for something he called community reassignment. The real reason was so ridiculous, I almost laughed. I worked from home and didn't need to park my car in the garage every day. That was Italiano. My garage wasn't cluttered. It wasn't a mess. It wasn't violating any rule. It was just an empty space that somebody else clearly wanted. Now, this vice president was a real estate agent who treated the HOA like his personal listing machine. He'd already managed to turn one of my neighbor's garages into a temporary storage unit for his own renovation projects. Nobody ever challenged him because he talked fast, cited bylaws that no one could ever find in the handbook, and handed out fines like they were party favors. So, instead of getting into a shouting match with him, I decided to just watch and wait. A few days later, an official-looking notice from the HOA arrived. It stated that my garage would be opened for inventory verification. It was quickly followed by a fine for failure to respond, which was strange because no one had ever tried to contact me in the first place. It became obvious they were just trying to build a paper trail to justify seizing my property. That's when I decided it was time to do my homework. I pulled up the official HOA bylaws and the city's housing codes, and what I found was pure gold. Garages are legally classified as essential residential structures. They cannot be reassigned, seized, or repurposed by an HOA without a court order. Ever declare a garage abandoned while the homeowner is actively living in the house is unjust and overreach of power. It's straight up fraud. So, my next move was simple. I installed a small, hidden camera inside my garage. Sure enough, 2 days later, the vice president and another board member let themselves in using a copied master key. My camera caught everything. They walked around filming the empty space with their phones, narrating out loud that it was unused and available for community use. They had no idea they were the stars of my own little documentary. I didn't stop them. Instead, I let them dig their own hole. My next step was to request copies of the HOA's insurance documents and asset logs, and that's when the whole scheme clicked into place. The HOA had been listing seized garages as community storage assets on their books. They were then billing vendors monthly usage fees to store equipment in these spaces. My garage wasn't the first one they had targeted. This wasn't just a power trip. It was a profitable scam. I compiled everything I had. The video footage of them trespassing, the bogus abandonment notice, the phony fines, and the financial records showing their little side hustle. I bundled it all up and sent it directly to the HOA's insurance carrier. The insurance company's response was swift and brutal. They canceled the HOA's policy immediately, citing fraudulent activity. Panic ensued. An emergency meeting was called. Lawyers were suddenly involved. The vice president, he resigned before the meeting even started. The HOA was forced to notify every single homeowner whose garage had been restitution checks were mailed out to compensate them. The community policies were completely rewritten, and all master keys were revoked. As for my garage, the city issued a formal notice stating that the HOA could never, under any circumstances, touch it again. They tried to steal a piece of my home, a space they had no right to. Instead, they ended up exposing a scam that had been hiding in plain sight for years. And if you enjoy stories where quiet observation and a little bit of research beat loud intimidation, make sure you subscribe. Because sometimes, the only way to end an HOA nightmare is to be the one who finally presses record. Thanks for watching.